right. Hello, Sooner Nation. We are back for a New Year's episode of Sooner Cast. We did another one just a little bit earlier because this one's being recorded a little bit later. Me and Steve have lives still, so it's just how it goes. But man, lots to talk about. It seems like good thing about doing this podcast about OU sports. They always give you stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
to mention
one thing
OU
you can
football.
say about 2024 might not have been a great year for Sooner football, but it was not a boring year for Sooner football. So, I guess the big news of since we've been on is Zac Alley turning into TBOE and heading to West Virginia. I kind of hit on this last pod. I don't care. I really don't. I think the optics are bad. I do. I think he wanted to be his own. He wanted to be his own guy. He wanted to have complete and total control of the defense. He wanted it to be about him. Plus, he thinks we're not probably in the world's best position. It's a 3-year commitment out there. Maybe it was a 1-year commitment here. But, you and I have signed as many linebackers in the last 11 months as Zac Alley has. So, hasta la vista, baby. It is what it is. I think whoever we get as a replacement is going to be just fine.
I agree. No, and that's the thing. Me and Steve been going back and forth with our buddies about this whole situation. And guys, it's not good. Let's not sugarcoat it. We're not going to blow smoke up your butt here and just tell you, okay, this is fine. Which I just feel like it's a bad situation. Zac Alley honestly made a decision in his mind that he gets a 3-year contract at West Virginia, and he might be dealing with a 1-year contract at OU. Because does it feel like we're delaying the inevitable with BV? Unfortunately, it starts every week. It feels like that more and more. I'd love to be wrong. Absolutely would love to be wrong, but I just feel like there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about. And this Zac Alley leaving, I mean, that's his protege. But also, like you just said, he's wanting his own defense. And it's always going to be Brent's defense as long as Brent's there. So,
and we want it to be Brent's defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. If it was just simple, whose defense do you trust? I mean, Brent Venables has as good a defensive pedigree as anybody in college football. It's just the truth.
For sure.
It's the truth. We want it to be Brent's defense. Do we want Brent to be more of a head coach? Is Brent's timeout management and game management pretty crummy most of the time? Yeah. Does our lack of discipline drive me absolutely insane? You bet. And do I think having a defensive coordinator he could turn that over to completely? Could Brent focus on those things more? Yeah, he could. But having Brent Venables as your head coach, but then being like, don't touch the defense. Do we not think Bob Stoops touched the defense, guys? Do we not? If you don't understand how that works. Do we not think Nick Saban meddled with Alabama's defensive coordinators? Yes, he did. And there's your only BV to Nick Saban comparison you're going to hear on any podcast right now. But the truth of the matter is, Alley made a decision. That's fine. I called it out a couple of pods ago that I was curious to kind of see where we were heading with Zac Alley because we haven't signed any recruits. We haven't done any of those things. What this is it's continual bad optics for OU. It is. It looks bad. It looks bad. This is going to be our third defensive coordinator in 3 years. It looks bad. Okay. It looks bad. Has Brent been good at hiring coordinators? Absolutely not. But at the same time, look at the talent we have on defense, and we've got Brent Venables as our head coach. We're going to be okay, guys. We are.
Yeah. No, I mean, you look at the recruits that are coming in. Yeah, well, you look at recruits and Bates and Chavis, Hall, those guys are the ones bringing in these guys. You just never saw anything from Zac Alley. And is that more BV driven? Probably it is. But that said, it's just it stinks for like right now our program, around our program, everything that's going on just has a bad smell to it and has bad vibes. We need
Yeah.
something good to happen. There is so much like rumors going around
And
about
I
what
mean,
OU's doing. I
you
mean,
say
give me
that,
a
Jeremy,
break, man.
but we just need to win football games. I mean, like
Hmm.
when John Mateer signed, we thought, okay, sky's not falling anymore. We got the number one player in the portal. We got the best quarterback. I mean, crud, the guy's got the third best high odds for the Heisman next year. Okay, this is somebody.
Yeah.
It's not just sunshine pumpers like me who tell you that John Mateer is going to be good. John Mateer was good this last year, and in all likelihood, he should be really good for us next year. Dominic Williams comes out today. He's coming back. Remember how much a big win that was last year. Really hope we get our Mason Thomas back. But if you look back to the end of the Lincoln Riley era, we would kill to have the defensive line that we have coming right now.
Hmm.
We would kill. I mean, whoever is our defensive coordinator, and I think we can kind of talk a little bit about this, maybe who that person's going to be. If Stephen Goss was sitting there, I would just promote Brandon Hall. Is
Yeah.
what I would do. He's been a defense coordinator before. Brandon Hall is just a solid dude, and he's one of those guys that just gets it. As most of you know, I work at a 3A high school. Brandon Hall's been to Keys recruiting, and no offense to my student athletes at Keys, but we don't have any P4 football players right now. But he has came there. He's came on campus. He's shook hands with our coaches. He has put his face in front of the kids. That's the kind of guy that gets it. He understands what it's like, and would be really happy if it's him. I'm not going to be upset if it's the guy from Clemson. I'm not. I'm not going to be upset if it's the guy from SMU. I'm not. I think all those are okay. But once again, just like we talked about with the OC, hopefully it's something that's done pretty quickly. But that being said, hopefully our I's are getting dotted and our T's are getting crossed. But I do think we were blindsided by this. I think it was a weak move by Zac Alley to tell the players that he was coming back. But, when I saw the quote after the game, and a lot of people were framing the quote that, somebody asked him that, oh, he's coming back next year. He never said that, And one thing we've learned from our Lincoln Riley experience, it's not about what they say, it's what they don't say. And he never said it completely. I do think it's crappy, but it's a business. Do I hope West Virginia sucks next year? Yes, I do. But am I going to spend a lot of time focusing on Zac Alley? No, he's a blip on the radar as far as I'm concerned. But as far as replacements, Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
Man, I'm with you on the Hall situation. I think that's an easy fix. Put him as if you want to do co-defensive coordinator and bring in Bates, make him do it as well. But, I mean, Hall's basically the main play caller, kind of like they did with Seth and Joe John. I'm not saying the same situation, but all I'm saying is that way you're kind of keeping those guys happy. I think Chavis down the road is going to be one hell of a defensive coordinator. The guy recruits like a madman, and he loves his players, and you can tell that's why people want to play for him. But I heard Teddy talk about Odom coming over. I don't think Odom's going to do it. Even if he asked him, it's too big of a risk. Like I was just saying a while ago, our situation right here,
and here's the deal:
on a 1-year deal. So
if it's promote Skalski, the dude with the amazing neck roll from Clemson, and he's the linebackers coach, I'm good with that too. I mean,
yeah.
Once again, we're talking about the defense. The defense is not our problem, guys. We didn't lose.
No.
It had been a lot bigger blow, and we may be sitting here next week talk about this. It had been a lot bigger blow to lose Todd Bates or Brandon Hall than it is to lose Zac Alley.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
And I agree. That's something that you cannot afford to lose Bates. You can't afford to lose Chavis. You can't afford to lose Hall. Those are your three main recruiters.
And if Jay Valai gets us
yeah.
league, I mean,
absolutely.
I don't want him to leave, but if he does, I think we can replace somebody there. But I'm with you. I think it's imperative that we do keep Hall, Bates, and Chavis. I think those are must keeps in my vantage point because, Jeremy, the sky falls farther and farther every day. But the key to us to get back is, as much as we all want to get every kid in the portal and we joke, well, They didn't come from an FCS school, or Crowley signed a guy from Pitt State this last week. Maybe Bacone about my back door will bring football back and we can start recruiting recruiting there as well. But how we're going to get back to where we need to be is by hitting on high school players. Okay. That's what it's going to be. It's high school recruiting, and we have to fill in our holes and hit some impact players with the portal. And those guys that we just talked about are doing a really good job recruiting high school players, and we've got to continue to do that. To me, that's the lifeblood at Oklahoma.
Yeah. There's so many things to fix, and defense ain't one of them. I think it all starts with the other side of the ball. BV's tenure is based on how can you make your offense complementary to your defense. Now, that said, last year's offense with Gabriel was unbelievable. I mean, we didn't realize how good we had it until we had this year. And
yeah,
it's just, you can't play complementary.
Good call.
Yeah, everybody thought Arnold was the answer. He's obviously not. So that said, you can't just sit back there and just look at it and say, well, we lose Alley, we're screwed. I mean, is it a bad situation? It is, because that wasn't what we're.
It's a bad look.
That's really. I don't think losing our defensive coordinator is not that big a deal.
It's just kind of like
the look it gives you.
I mean, don't you think, Jeremy? It's kind of like the whole receiver room, and it looks bad when the whole receiver room is in the portal. But at the same time, the people that went in the portal didn't play last year. So, yeah. I mean, I sent this text out, to our friends earlier just about, trying to be a little bit of a sunshine pumper. But, okay, everybody we're losing this year, graduation, transfer portal, everything. To me, we've got three guys that were really above replacement level. We're losing Stutzman, we're losing Bowman, and we're losing Ethan Downs. I think those are three guys that are, with Bowman and Stutzman, those are all SEC top guys. I think Ethan Downs plays for any team in the top 25. I think he was a really good football player. Yeah. Everyone else that we lost, what did they do last year? If you're telling me we can't get better production at quarterback than Jackson Arnold, and we can't get better production at tight end than Bauer Sharp, then yeah, Brent needs to be fired. He does.
Yeah.
But all the other people who left, I mean, no offense. I mean, Lewis Carter wasn't that great, guys. I mean, maybe he goes and he blossoms. Maybe he's going to West Virginia with Alley. Maybe whatever. Okay. Does it stink to lose that depth? Yeah. But guys, he never got on the field after the Texas game because he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was depth. That's all he was.
Yeah. I mean,
he wasn't starting over McKenzie. He wasn't starting over Kip Lewis. So let's get that crap out of there. I mean, you can find somebody else.
I mean, that's the thing I want to throw at people. Does all this look bad? Yes, it looks bad. Also, don't be shocked, guys, when a lot of these playoff teams, once their seasons are over, they're going to have a lot of the same roster leaving things that we're doing, because something that we actually were doing a really good job on that the NCAA is not letting us do is our PWO program has been really preferred walk-on program has been really good under Brent. They've done a really good job with that, but it also upped our roster size. So that's the reason we have lost more people. We're trying to get under that roster limit too. And a lot of the other schools who were willing to spend and to do the things like that we did in PWOs, those teams are still in the playoffs right now. So we haven't seen as much of some of their losses of, oh my gosh, don't be shocked, guys, when, and Tennessee's going through a lot of this right now too. The sky's falling over there with Josh. Well, they're in a lot of the same boat we are. Okay, and you're like, oh, well, look at the money they just spent right now to get a receiver. Yeah, they also lost Squirrel White, and they lost their best freshman receiver too. So, I mean, yeah, they might get Branch from USC, but they also lost two guys that were genuinely productive for them this year already. Plus, the whole reason Tennessee was good this year, Dylan Sampson is going to the NFL. So, our sky is falling here, but the sky is falling across the nation as well, too. We just do an excellent job of letting everybody know that our house is dirty.
Yeah, it is a nationwide epidemic, the portal. I mean, you can't sit back and just say, well, we're the only ones dealing with this. Now everyone's dealing with it. Get on Twitter. Look at
Yeah.
everybody going through all these. But it looks bad because who are we watching? We're watching what OU does. We're watching
Yeah.
everything that happens is what we watch is OU. So
And
whenever
this
you
is an
look at
OU
it,
pod, guys. We're not national media guys. We're obviously telling you the OU stuff too.
obviously, yeah.
I don't want I don't want anyone to misconstrue what we're saying here, but let's just everybody try to take a little bit of a deep breath. And you're like, oh yeah, good for you to talk. You were ready to, nuke the entire program after the Navy game. You bet your butt I was, because we lost to a freaking service academy, and that's absolutely stinking embarrassing. And it was a stupid decision to go for 2. And I think that, and I still will think that. But you know what? You take a deep breath, you breathe in, you breathe out, and Do I have ultimate faith that we're going to be sitting here next year on January? Maybe we're recording this on December 30th, like we're doing now, or maybe it's on January 1st or 2nd. And are we preparing for a quarterfinal game with the Oklahoma Sooners? I certainly hope we are. But if you were to put a gun to my head and say, are we doing that, or are we talking about a head coaching replacement? We're probably talking about a head coaching replacement. But that's not where I want it to be. And it's not going to help anything for me to just, once again, pee, gripe, moan, bedwet, whatever you want, whatever thing you want to say. Now, is it cathartic to pee and moan a little bit? You bet your rear it is. But sometimes we got to pull our little crimson panties up and understand that it could be a whole heck of a lot worse. And, it's the old Simpson meme that's going on there. It's like, this is the worst day so far. The one thing the 2024 Sooners thought is, if you think this is a low point, hold on, we can get lower. So let's just continue to be prepared for that.
Okay, so let's do some logistics here, because we talked about this on our Doomsday pod after the bowl game. Let's say Brent Venables gets let go. Yeah, that's what everybody wants. Get rid of BV, move on. So who do we bring in as head coach? Who would we bring in it as a head coach?
Let's just be completely honest. Now, I completely understand Bill Belichick just took a job with North Carolina. Okay, but let me give you a little inside baseball here to that, guys. The reason Bill Belichick did that was so his son can be the head coach at North Carolina when he leaves. That was the whole point of that. Yep. If Belichick gets a call to go to the NFL this season, he will be gone. Okay, he will be gone this season. He will not coach a game in Chapel Hill. But Bill Belichick aside, Pete Carroll's not coming back and taking the Oklahoma job. Nick Saban's not going to be taking the Oklahoma job. Okay. Those things are not going to happen. Wish they would, but there's a reason those guys got out. It's because they hate the current system of how things are going to go. It's not going to be Urban Meyer. Okay. It's not. And sorry, and I know Cap is friend of the program, but I don't think Joe C is getting canned, guys. Joe C has done amazing things at the University of Oklahoma, and him and Joe Harris are like this. Yeah. And I certainly don't see that happening. And I can tell you one thing: Joe C is not hiring Urban Meyer. So take all those guys. I get so
sick and tired of the Joe C hate on.
Yes.
It just gets tiresome.
Take all those guys away. Realistic candidates. Okay. Maybe you really like Dillingham at Arizona State. He had a good year this year. He did. He had a good year. He went, 10-2 in the Big 12? Is that right? Jeremy, can you tell me another team that went 10-2 in the Big 12 last year? Oh, that would be us. Okay. So let's follow that up and see. Let's see him have 2 straight years. Plus, that's a guy from Arizona State, no SEC ties, nothing like that. Okay. Who's out there?
Just like earlier this year when everybody was talking about Indiana's coach.
Right.
And I'm like,
guys, if we played Indiana's schedule, we would have at most 2 losses. And you can say, oh, we just lost to Navy. We lost to Navy with half of our roster. And we still should, and we outplayed them. If you do I forget the Twitter account that's out there, but the graph that shows you if you should have won or you shouldn't have won, and what was misrepresentation. That's a game we dominated and we lost. We did. Yeah. We played Navy 10 times, even with the roster we just did. We beat them 8. It was one of those things. It happens. but Signetti is not the answer, guys. Plus, Signetti's older than BV. Okay, um, what's out there? Something we have fought against since we started this is: are we the next Nebraska? Okay, we can act like Nebraska, and we can fire our Frank Solich right now. We can go ahead and do that. But let's just see, what's rolling up. Who's our Scott Frost?
Yeah. That's what I said about bringing Josh Heupel in.
Okay. But you know what? Like making these, legacy hires really has worked out well, hasn't it? There's not anybody out there. Who is it?
I'm going to tell you the one thing, and I joked about it in a pod earlier.
I like Shane Beamer. If someone's out there screaming Shane Beamer, I think Shane Beamer's, a good dude. But compare Beamer's record to BV's record. Just Google that right now.
I can be honest with you. I would if you told me like we're getting rid of BV, who we bringing in, Beamer would be my first choice. But guys, I'm going to tell you what. This is probably will never happen, but I think they would kick the tires on it if it did. Bring Bob back for 2 years. And the only reason I think that he would consider it because his mentor did it at Kansas State. So is it crazy to think about right now? Yeah, because you think Bob wouldn't do that. But who's to say he wouldn't? Just to say, hey, 2 years, you groom the next head coach. Just get our program back in line. Because everybody wants to talk about how good a record Lincoln Riley had. Lincoln Riley won with most of Bob's guys those first 2 years. Right. I know Lincoln Riley coached Baker Mayfield. I understand that as an offensive coordinator. But that said, all those guys were Bob's guys. All their attitude. But what happened whenever Lincoln's guys started coming through? Did we win games? Yes. But did our attitude and our demeanor change as a program? Absolutely. So Bob Stoops changed the culture here, and he kind of ruined it for everybody else. There's not Bob Stoops growing on trees.
Yeah.
There's only one Bob Stoops.
You saw I think we all saw the tweet of, number of Sooner Bowl wins since Bob Stoops retired. 2, and one of them is by Bob Stoops.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure, Jeremy. I don't think that's an impossibility. I think that's one of those deals of, just kind of like when he coached in the bowl game. I think he would do us a solid if we had to. But realistically, that's not a long-term solution. That's what we need. We need a long-term solution. Yes, we would all love to jump in a time machine and hire Dan Lanning. That looks like the way smarter thing to do. But we don't know. Maybe Oregon loses their next game and maybe they miss on their next quarterback and maybe Oregon is not in great position 4 or 5 years from now. I don't know. Dan Lanning looks like it would have been the right hire. Okay. But for every Kirby Smart that worked out, there's a Will Muschamp that didn't work out from the Saban tree. For all those things, did Sarkisian, maybe he got sober, maybe he got smarter, maybe he got both. But, there's a reason he was, 7-win Sark at Washington and at USC. There's no hitting the home runs like the Bob Stoops and the Nick Sabans and all those things. That's hard, guys. It's hard. And we don't know. And the way being an AD of just firing and letting go, I don't think that's the way to go. But also at the same time, I do think in 3 years you should be in better position than you were. And in Brent's third year, we were under 500 at the end of the year. That's unacceptable. It just is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not, and that's the other thing too. People think that I'm not taking up for what has happened in these 3 years. I think it's a bad situation.
But Jeremy, there's nobody, and I'm not saying year 2 was awesome, but we act like Brent Venables has been 6-7 all 3 years, and he hasn't been. We want to act like year 2 just didn't exist, like it's 3 straight losing seasons, and it's not. It's just not.
Well, Steve, I think the problem is that there's not. It's the discipline of the football team, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's the big issue with them is that you just haven't seen drastic change to say they can be a great football team. Did we have a good football team last year? Yeah. Did we crap the bed when we had a little bit of success?
yeah,
Absolutely. And it's like we just can't get over that hump. And they are. You can look at them and say they are not a well coached football team, and
100%.
that's what's scary to me. So,
No, I mean
yeah,
and it's the same, and we've talked about this before. It's the same crap that's happened over and over again. Toward the end of the Bob Stoops era, we always talked about really the really ill-timed, like personal foul we would get when we didn't really need one. And it was a lack of discipline. That was there, and it's like that has just continued to carry on, and you know that's the thing. We've talked about this. I think we talk about this about every week. But I thought Brent Venables would be awesome at development and discipline. That's the two things I thought we would be really, really, really good in a Brent Venables system. And we just haven't been. And,
yeah,
I don't know what it is. Maybe Smitty's too old. Maybe the workout programs aren't going right. Maybe that's why everybody got hurt. Okay. Maybe, maybe it is bad luck that I've tried to throw it out there. Maybe Brent's just not meant to be a head coach. Maybe all those things. I don't know. I don't know which one of those it is, and I don't think anybody does. But here's the situation, guys, as we are about to roll into 2025. Barring something catastrophic with either his health or his family's health, Brent Venables is going to be your head coach going forward. Joe Castiglione is going to be your athletic director going forward. And if I'm wrong, I'm not going to do the FSU fan and tell you I'm going to eat dog crap or anything like that. But if I'm wrong, I will get on here and tell you I'm wrong. But I will be stunned if that's not the situation. But I want you to – this is my homework for all you guys that the sky is completely falling. And I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. Who are we losing that's completely irreplaceable? Number one. And number two, tell me how many games we just absolutely have no chance going into next year. Tell me that. That's your
agree.
homework.
No, and I agree. Like, it's the funny thing is what people have been saying that Joe C said 9 wins or you're fired, and that's why people are. I would be shocked if Joe C was that. He's been an AD too long. That is a recipe for disaster. You don't give people a win total to how to save their job. That's stupid. So get that out of the equation. There is rumor mills going all over the place. Like, just my best case scenario is just get off Twitter. My problem is I respond to too much stuff. What was it? A guy was talking about Traber, I guess, went on a rant. I didn't listen to him. But Traber went on a rant about Dvorak and Teddy Lehman. He said Dvorak was one of the stupidest college football analysts. I don't know what Dvorak did to this guy, but he can't stand him. And then he said that Teddy Lehman was so stupid saying that BV was going to win a national championship in his third year. That said, guys,
okay, because
BV is like what I'm getting to is BV is Lehman's coach.
Yeah.
He is going to pull for him, and he wants him to succeed. But also, too, the reason that Traber and all these media guys do that is because what happens? All these people heard him say that. He's like Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Traber wants to be a poor man's Colin Cowherd. So
here's the deal, Jeremy. Here's a hypothetical for you from that. And we'll try to defend our high school rival, Teddy Lehman, here. If we had last year's offense with this year's defense, do we not think it's a playoff team this year?
Absolutely. 100%.
And tell me this right now, Jeremy, who's going to win the national championship this year?
This is crazy. I think Ohio State might.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. I mean, okay, but let's be honest. If you look at Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, those are probably the 4 teams that we probably think have the best chance. Maybe Notre Dame, if you want to throw them in there. that have the best chance of going ahead and winning this thing. You tell me, with our offense from the previous year, our defense from this year, we're not as good. I'm not saying we're better. We're not in the football game with any of those teams.
Yeah.
Because do I think Texas is as good as they were last year? No, I don't. I don't. They're not quite as good up front. They don't have, Bijan at running back. I think Texas is good. I think they could win it. Hope to God they don't. I'll be puking if they do. But I lined up and watched us beat that Texas team in a not fluky game. Mm-hmm. Guys, we're not to sound once again like our boy out west, we're not that far off. We're not. I mean, let's not act like we just lost everybody who matters and we're going to have to shut the program down and try to play Tulsa 12 times next year. Okay? That's not where it's at. It's not. Do I love the direction it's going? Absolutely not. Are the optics bad? They're freaking terrible. Do I think Brandt's in over his head with all this stuff? You bet your rear I do. But let's just take a deep breath. Let's try to finish well in the portal, and let's see what happens as we get toward next August.
Yeah. Okay, so we have hit on about as the worst situation we could is OU football. OU basketball had an undefeated non-conference. So all they do is keep winning. I had somebody on Twitter I saw yesterday said, can they not blow anybody out? I'm like, who the hell cares? I mean, who cares? Like, that's a 1-11 team. I'm like, I don't care if it's an 0-11 team. Just give me a win and move on. Because their lives are about to get a lot harder.
I was a sicko and watched the Prairie View A&M game yesterday. And or was that yesterday or the day before? But anyway, and
yesterday.
Yeah, and here's the deal, guys. I mean, these are college athletes. They're going to be supremely motivated to play. OU's players also know Prairie View A&M is 1-11. Okay.
Yeah.
They're well aware of that. Prairie View A&M is actually not a bad team out of the SWAC. They're one of those teams that go and they play their money games. I know they're 1-11, 1-12 right now. Don't be stunned if that's not a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament. That's a team that could go even win their conference title. They've got some decent cats on that team, but they play all road games. They play Power 4 teams or Power 5 teams, and that's how they fund their athletic program, is by playing games like they did against OU yesterday. There's nothing exciting for OU about that. But you know what is exciting about OU is that whole friggin' roster, guys. We're good. We're good. I mean, like, it's just the deal of, Duke Miles is hitting shots. Kobe Elvis is hitting shots. Jeremiah Fears is a dude. You heard it here a long time ago. Jeremy and I have been in on Fears for as long as you possibly can be. And go watch this team. Really excited for the Alabama game coming up here this weekend. Really excited to see where this team's going to go. But there is that little bitty bit of concern. The devil on, angel devil on the shoulder deal from the old cartoons. Guys, we were really good in the non-con last year, and then we sucked. So let's hope, let's pray that that's not the case this year. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I don't know who whispered that a while ago. We're going to be good. We're top, 10 in the AP, 12 in the coaches, or vice versa that came out today. We're good. Sweet 16 or bust. Just really happy about it. Jeremy, basketball thoughts.
Whose legs we got to hump to get further than 10?
Yeah.
I'm like, we're one of the 4 undefeated teams. I don't give a crap who we played. I'm like, they have answered all the questions in the non-con, but you know what? This is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for conference season. Jalen Moore played a great game yesterday. You know what I think the whole key to the season is, or for this non-con schedule, is they put pieces around Jalen Moore. Like, Fears, you have Fears. That's your main deal. But Elvis, Miles, those guys are pieces that just complement Jalen Moore.
You tell me Taylor doesn't start and play 35 minutes on every other Porter Moser team that we've had. You tell me start on every other
and that
Porter
is the most
team that we've had.
And Taylor
those are guys
is the
off
most
the bench.
Porter Moser guy.
Good players.
He is the most Porter. Yeah, Taylor's the most Porter Moser guy that we have. Like when you look at Taylor, you can tell that Porter Moser, that is his guy. Like
Yeah.
that's the one that he brought in, saying like, that's who I want. And they complement each other so well. And I'm just hoping, man, dude, I like Porter Moser. I want him to succeed. I want to, it's just like BV. It's like, I'm an OU fan.
He's going to,
It's like,
Jeremy. He's going to. I mean, get the old sunshine pump out. It's going to happen. It just is. I'm speaking it into existence. Next time we talk here, we're going to be talking about, hey, I undersold us on Sweet 16 after we just went down and whooped Alabama's butt. We're going to be in a much better position to go and, get on the top two lines there. So,
well, here's what I'm curious. If we beat Alabama, let's say we beat Alabama, I want to see where they rank us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 9, 9.
They'll probably drop us too.
Yeah.
Like that OSU win. They got really
maybe we don't blow them out enough. We're the Rodney Dangerfield of college basketball right now. But for you younger Soonercast fans, Caddyshack, go watch it. It's awesome.
No respect.
Yeah. Free bowl of soup with that. But that being said, positive vibes on hoops. Really excited to get in SEC play. Women have done a great job in their non-con as well. They just dropped the one game. If you're in the metro area, the Thunder are freaking awesome. Save money for playoff games. Go to some Sooner games, guys. If you can get up there and you can go do it.
Hey, this will be our little portion of the Thunder talk, because like I said before, it's hard for us not to talk about Thunder because me and Steve are huge Thunder fans.
We do kind of like winners. Winning is fun.
If you like to watch basketball played the right way, watch the Thunder. And you want to know why the Thunder are so good? Because they have a superstar that is bought into his team. Mm-hmm. If you want the whole logistics of how basketball works, you get a superstar like SGA and put pieces around him. I mean, guys, they only have Chet Holmgren, and they won 10 in a row. So,
and we can equate this back. We can equate this back to the whole roster construction with OU basketball too. Okay, Fears has slid into that SGA role, and that makes everybody else's lives a whole lot easier, because I was watching the Thunder the other night and playing the Pacers, and game they should have lost. SGA just went in the phone booth and put on a Superman cape and, just took us home. And, that's the kind of thing, just the same way Fears with the 4-point play up at Michigan. Okay. Sometimes superstars have to make superstar plays. And Fears is doing that for the Sooners. SGA is doing that for the Thunder. And we just had a hope to God that our boy John Mateer can do that for the football team.
Yeah. I mean, you just need a quarterback to throw the football down the field. Not scared to make those big throws, and I think we've got it with Mateer. I'm not trying to like we said before.
And you got to catch it. Got to catch it. You got to catch it.
Hey,
put it away.
That's why I really don't care where. That's the reason I really don't give a crap where we get these players at. Hey, if you can catch football, I'll equate it to this. There was a kid in Collinsville. His name's Oscar Hammonds. He went to UCO. Transferred to North Texas, played North Texas last year. Now he's transferred to OSU. He is probably one of the best high school football players I've ever seen. They won a state championship. He's playing tight end for him. I told my buddy Kevin, who is the head football coach at Collinsville, I go, I don't care where he came from. I'd love to have him at OU right now. Yeah. Dude, he was a guy that went up and got it. There are kids like that all over college football. And so quit worrying about what school they come from.
And here's the deal, guys. Will Elijah Thomas be Ryan Williams? That'd be sweet if he was, right? We don't know. He just might be. But, I think we've rambled on a little bit enough for you guys tonight. Any New Year's resolutions, Jeremy, before we sign off here?
I would say us win the SEC in basketball. Okay. I'm I'll put it this way: I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan. So when we won the World Series in 2021, I was not expecting it. The Thunder are set up that I'm trying not to reserve my spot at the championship parade, but man, I'm fully guzzling kegs of the Thunder love right now because I absolutely love that team. I'm thinking my resolution is I'm finally going to get us a Thunder championship in Oklahoma City, and then we start bringing more professional teams to the metro area. So
We'll take it. We will take
but
it.
hey, guys, also too, before we jump off here, me and Steve have been working our tail ends off getting guests on for next year. And man, once we start lining them up, we've got some on board already and we're working on some more. Man, we've got some great guests coming on here. So we're excited. These last two we wanted me and Steve. Me and Steve brought so many guests on. We're like, we hadn't even got to talk. So we're like, it is our podcast. We'll talk a little bit, but guys, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe now because it is only going to get better in 2025. Follow us on Apple, follow us on Spotify. Man, it's only getting better from here. Businesses, if you are not or looking for some sponsor, needs a sponsorship, hey, New Year's coming. So you've got a budget to spend some money on. If you're looking to sponsor a podcast, we are looking for sponsors for this to make this product a little bit better. Sooner, what is it, Steve? Soonercast at Gmail.
Soonercast at gmail.com. Like Jeremy said, send us an email. Also, you can use that same email if you've got any ideas of, hey, would you guys like to try to get so and so on? Or if you're out there would like to come on. Like Jeremy said, we've got some cool media members coming on here in the next few weeks and months. But if you've got a mailbag question, we would love to entertain those as well. But have a happy new year, everybody. Let's hope for better days for Sooner football in 2025. And I'm just going to say it now. We're beating Bama in basketball next week, this Saturday. It's happening. It's happening. Mark it down. I'm not going to give you a final score, but if someone hits me up and asks me for a comment on YouTube, I might just give you a final score on there. But Happy New Year, everybody, and Boomer.
Happy New Year. All right, Boomer Sooner.